All right, folks, welcome. Welcome to my channel. I appreciate you showing up. Thank you for being here. This is going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one and it's going to be emotional. So I want you to prepare yourselves because it's going to be hard for me. All right. I've been getting mad and I might get mad in this video, but I've been getting mad because I've been wanting people out there to cover this issue, right? I keep hearing like this guidance that like if we can just use the movement, the free Kate movement, the Army for Kate movement, if we can just use that movement like the TikTok democracy to go ahead and bring attention to the fact that the children are missing and nobody has seen the children since December. But no one's paying attention to it. And if we can just get that information out there and force them to talk about it, I've been told that that will change everything. There will be a huge cascade. But right now, we got this problem, right? Because it's like a war. You got to think about it like a war, and you're part of the revolution, right? So if social media is ignoring the children, right? Like, what do we do? And what I've been told is you got to get these people motivated. You got to get these people who got big followings. You got to get them to start talking about this stuff. And I'm like, okay, okay. And I'm like, I'll nag these people and I'll put comments on their threads and say, please, please talk about the kids. But that ain't working, right? So then I had to repurpose myself and figure myself out, and I had to figure out what was I going to do. I couldn't just sit with these feelings and not take action. And then I realized, like, stupid, you make the video, right? It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be on these major posts that you see have huge followings, right? But I was like, the voice said, go ahead, you make the video, right? So I just went ahead. I made the video. I might get emotional, might get angry, because I'm upset. I'm real angry. And when this all came about, I don't know when it hit me. I want to say February. I felt this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Something is wrong, right? Something is wrong. And then I woke up the next day and I was like telling someone over breakfast, like, excuse me, I said, whoa, I just got a feeling like it's not just her, it's the kids too. It's the kids too. The kids are gone. The kids are gone. I feel like they're gone. They're gone. I feel like they're gone, right? And it was just so shocking for my system to recognize I wasn't just feeling her being gone. I was feeling the children, which is just so heavy. So here we got the three children, right? And in case you don't know the children, I would like to give you an exercise right now. I would like you to think for a moment, feel with your body, close your eyes, breathe for a minute. I want you to meditate on Prince George. Does he feel like he's here? When you meditate on his energy, does he feel like he's here? What is your first feeling that comes through? Do you hear a yes? Do you hear a no? Now we're going to do Princess Charlotte. So close your eyes, breathe, close your eyes, breathe. And then we just ask ourselves, Princess Charlotte, are you here? Princess Charlotte, are you here? And do you feel like she's here? What's the message you're getting? Don't question it. Just let it come, whatever that answer is. And now we got Prince Louis, and he's 5 years old. Let's meditate on him for a minute. Just breathe, just close your eyes. And what are you feeling? So as we think about these children and call on their souls wherever they may be, we have to think about, you know, um, some folks are saying, well, they're just keeping them in hiding because children will get out and talk about what's happening. You can't keep them quiet. Yeah, I hear that possibility. That's not what's coming through for me. I'm the only one out here. I feel like feeling like I just feel so alone out here talking about the children because like I don't understand why all these people are obsessed with the mother but can't see that the children are missing, and we've been provided a fake photo of the children, right? So the first thing you want is proof of life for the family, for the children that you just got a fake photo of that's been recognized by national press syndicates. All right, let's start with this lady. I'm getting a feeling that something did happen with her, but I don't know if they roped her back in because she has a part to play. Everyone's playing their part. So this article was talking about how she'd been with the family for 8 years. She actually was now with the family for 10 years. And that's her in the photo with Prince George. So this is talking about how chummy that relationship is that she has with Kate, the nanny. Now, this is their one nanny, right? And until recently, she lived with them. But then, since they moved closer to where Rose Hanbury's house is, now she has her own house. But anyway, she's like, I think there's probably like a pact of like secret society Mary Poppins that are just raised to live for taking care of these royal children. They're probably like passed down generationally, it's like a secret cult or something. But she is also trained in martial arts, right? Self-defense. So very interesting. And she is their one nanny and Spanish, northern Spain. She's from northern Spain. Keep that in mind. Baralo, Baralo. So this is where they're supposedly living now, right? 4 bedrooms, small house, looks like a little pink castle. And that's where they're supposedly living now. So this was something I saw on some conversation when I went back and did some research, and it just looked like someone was talking about how the staff were sent back to Spain and that she was the one that was claiming that Kate was in a coma. This was about December through January of 2024 that people were really talking about that possibility. January of what, as far as this nanny story, as far as me tracking down the nanny story to clarify, when I've been tracking down this nanny story on reports that she got sent back to Spain, and I just want you to think for a minute. Remember my theory with my original video? Like if Prince William goes insane, well, then after the murders, like what would he do? He would send the nanny packing. He would get rid of everyone. He would act crazy when he went to events. He would cancel events. He would go kill someone to be like Prince Philip and shut someone up to send a message to everyone else. He would buy a bunch of bots to quell the stories. He would buy all these people to say that they've seen her or they just saw her last week. He's already got the Middleton family on staff, right, to do whatever he needs. And I think he scared Camilla into the corner, but she hasn't played her last card, right? So she's playing good right now and being good, and the Middletons are being good, and everyone's just changing the story, right? But I think originally he sent them all away, right? He sent the brother off packing on a trip. He sent the sister of Kate off packing on a trip. They were all on trips, right? With their sister supposedly in the hospital with serious surgery and cancer and all this other stuff. And they're all vacationing, right? Then he only visits her once at the hospital. Like none of it makes sense. But anyway, I just want to really hone in on these rumors that began right around December through January regarding and maybe towards the end of January regarding the nanny. And I would encourage you guys to do the research, because now when I've done some research, it seems like some of those stories have been squashed. A lot of folks on the internet been talking about how every story about this story is getting squashed, other than like bot repeat stories that are like, be nice to Kate, don't ask questions, don't think. Yeah, you were just lied to, but it's mean to question the next thing they issue, right? Like, who says that? Like, who thinks that? Like, people that are dumb or something, under a spell. All right. So when I went back and like looked for posts and stuff, people were talking about how there was some kind of like maybe an altercation, or maybe she was really upset about something. Then we started to see that there were changes, right? Around the end of January, I want to say, like this article's from January 17th, we start to see stories that have to do more with like, she's been there the whole time, nothing has changed, she hasn't left, that she's vital for the princess's recovery. So maybe William like freaked out and called her back from Spain. I think she might have been the leak about the coma. Now, coma is a nice way to say he knocked her out, her brain spilled out of her head. They stuck her on a life support machine for like 3 minutes, and then they told people she was in a coma, but they didn't tell people she died 10 minutes later. That's the kind of feeling I get. So I don't even feel like she's still in a coma. But this woman, if she is the leak, like it would make sense that she would be upset, and that she would be upset that the children were murdered if she knew about that. But I don't know why he would let her go, but he might have threatened her life. I don't know. I don't know. And he might have called her back as soon as he sent her back to Spain. So I think he was acting very erratically the first 3 weeks after December 28th. Whatever happened December 28th, he started acting real erratic after that. Real erratic, acted real strange. The BAFTA awards very awkward. So then the articles by January 30th, you can see it's all about that she's there. The nanny's going to provide support and help out and all this stuff. That's January 30th. So around that time, I found some articles, right? But like very few and far between. And I just wonder if they started to come out and then William got them squashed. He has incredible influence with like the press. So suspicions rise, right? And several articles come out around then about the children, like specifically the children, not just the mother, right? But these three vessels, these three humans, right, that we have not seen since December 25th of 2023, right? I get it that maybe they want to keep them protected and in private because they don't want them telling a story about what's really happening. I get that theory. But even then, like they would be keeping up the appearances of having them go to school, of normal things, when they can't reassure us with Kate's appearance at an event, like then they would give us the children just from a distance, right? To reassure us of normality, to reassure us there's nothing to see here, right? But they're not doing that. I've said it before. If they could prop her up with some like, speed or something, or shock her into like talking to the camera, they would by now, right? They don't have her to do that. They don't have her physically available to do that. That's what their actions are telling you. And the same thing for the children. You just apply the same reasoning. Right now, when the public really needs to be reassured, right, that everything's normal, that their suspicions and their gut instinct is wrong, they want that reassurance, right? Well, just think about it. Now they could give us some kids playing in a park and William looking like a single parent, really sad, or something, right? But they don't have any pictures of the kids. They don't have any videos of the kids. Now with the AI technology, they can't do moving people, multiple people moving at the same time. They can do a Kate AI video like the cancer video and then like just stick her like head on the person or something. They don't have the ability yet with the AI technology to completely dupe us when it comes to crowds. So it's not AI if it's like a crowd moving people, multiple people moving at the same time. Not yet, anyway, as far as I can tell with this AI technology. I've been getting schooled like everyone else. I just think those folks are silly who think that they can't use AI technology to create her, and they dismiss the videos from the AI experts like it's just sad. So anyway, this whole story about the children being missing, that's just disappeared, right? It appeared, and then just as quickly as it appeared, it got squashed, right? Whenever stuff is getting squashed, like censorship, folks, boys and girls, then that's where the dirt is, right? When they're censoring it, like right now, they're censoring that cancer video. No, whoa, who have they ever? So this was one of the times that they were talking about how she didn't have cancer. There was 4 times they said that. But in this article, they do bring up those little babies, right? And it asks a really good question. Where are those kids? Why haven't they been photographed going to school, going to the doctor, going to see a relative, right? Who's in on it, who knows about the murders or whatever, who knows about whatever the secret is, right? Like they could take them somewhere in a car so people would be reassured that someone is alive, right? Other than William. So then the question gets asked by this person in this article, how has this slipped by the paparazzi? And that's such a huge question, right? It's the question of our time, right? Because we're asking for the truth and no one's given us the truth. So then you realize, how has this slipped by the paparazzi is actually a huge question, you know, because everything's slipping by the paparazzi these days. BBC is in cahoots with the palace. When they go down over that video, I don't know what's going to happen. I want to see them try to wiggle their way out of that one. So this is about the journalistic integrity of the nation, of the country, of the world, of the Western world that says we are the Democrats, right? We're going to bring democracy everywhere in the world. Well, that's a bunch of shit. These people don't have a democracy going on. A democracy is defined by having a free press, right? None of these countries got a free press because no one's doing their job. Can I go back for 1 second here? At the end of this, it says not a single photo of them since the announcement of their mom's surgery. No, not a single photo of them since Christmas. Let's not say that they get this extra 3-week vacation from the time the children were last seen to when they made this fake announcement about a surgery. You know that I think someone has those files from the hospital to show she was never there. But anyway, I think they're holding them for ransom or something. I don't know what they're doing with those, but there has not been a single photo of them since Christmas. And no one seems to care. And you have to ask yourself, why don't these people care? Because someone is teaching them, don't look here. They're telling them, don't focus here. Maybe there's like things that are blinking that we can't even see, right? Like subliminal messages or something, right? Saying, don't look here, don't ask about the children. Because no one, I say it to people, I'm like, what about the kids? Can you talk about the kids? No one's seen the kids. And I just get silence. No one wants to touch it. I go on the YouTube and I look at these people I wrote on their page about how they should cover this, and they just ignore me, right? All right. I'm just feeling sorry for myself. So, isn't it convenient, right, that the London clinic did not allow children to visit? That is a very nice convenience for them, right? Because some hospitals will make exceptions, and like I think the London clinic does make exceptions, right? So, someone should actually look into that. I'm going to go give a little homework there. Just see if the London clinic ever makes exceptions, right? If you're super close with your kids and you're 14 days in the hospital, I don't know, most parents want to see their kids. I don't know. This all stinks to me. This all stinks to me like lies. Whew. All right, here's another piece of homework. This guy, Colonel Tom, he came on right before she went missing. And people were kind of joking about how attractive he was, and like maybe they have an open relationship, right? And this guy was going to be her lover, and they were going to have like a fake job for him for a while, and good for her, like she probably needs someone to love her, right? But I don't know if he's a colonel and he has that military background. Like I think Kate has a lot of handlers that like are spies for Charles and for William into her business. I don't think she has a lot of privacy or power. I think Princess Diana came from like royal blood and didn't get intimidated by these people in the same way. So at this point, I'm just feeling like this guy. There was another woman that was an aide that was supposedly visiting Kate every day in the hospital, and she had been the aide to William before he got married and had been assigned by Queen Elizabeth. I think that lady was like a handler. Maybe Queen Elizabeth had her being the handler and reporting back to her about everything for William. And then he just passed her, that handler lady, on to Kate. But that lady was visiting her supposedly every day in the hospital. But that could just be some job she had to go there and pretend that Kate was there, you know. But this Colonel Tom, I'm curious about what is his story, right? What does he know? We've heard that her senior staff didn't know about the surgery, didn't know about the planned surgery, hadn't heard from her, have had no contact, don't know where she is necessarily, haven't spoken with her, didn't know about the cancer, didn't know anything. We're talking her senior staff talking, but yet what about Colonel Tom? I don't know if he's one of those people who's saying anything. I get the feeling he's towing the party line, but his being hired right before she went missing almost seems like the murder or whatever happened was premeditated. And I don't think it was premeditated. All my senses are telling me it was an act of rage. A lamp got knocked over, her head got hit on something, kind of a darkish room. And I don't know. After that, I just see the kids quickly gone, like maybe gunshot. I don't know. I just a gun comes to mind. Right. So let's talk about this lady, Concha Kaleha. So supposedly she is, a real connection for Camilla. Like I think Camilla got in trouble for this. I saw one article where Concha Kaleja was quoted for saying sources plural. So the sources plural might have been Camilla and the nanny, right? If there were two sources. But my understanding is that Concha is also very close to Buckingham Palace, which basically means Camilla. All right. So someone started to put together, and I didn't include all of it, but they started like being suspicious about like, well, let's see when we last saw her. Let's see like when Kate had any events, and she had 9 events in November, and then she had 4 engagements in December, right? So, she doesn't always have a heavy schedule, right? I think William doesn't want her to one up him and doesn't want her to outshine him. He's like a big old baby. But I don't know. It just sounds like I don't know. I just think things were going to shit in December between the two of them. I think maybe if Rose got pregnant with a second child, she was just done with him popping out babies left and right with other people. I don't know. She has no power. She's locked into this marriage, and she knows that the family will kill people they've killed before. So I have some real curiosity, right? And I think folks know from my other video, but she had a real sad face when she stopped smiling for the camera. And the article on the day, if you look at my first video, talks about how on the day of Christmas, when she was last seen, she was looking horrible and sad. And the article even talked about it. And it said when her face rested, right, when William wasn't around to stare at her and make her feel horrible about herself and like he was going to beat her when she got home, that basically that she looked sad. And there's one photo I have posted before in my first video, and she looks sad. She's wearing the same outfit and all of that stuff, and I'm just wondering, I would like someone with some AI expertise to go ahead and look at those photos from Christmas, find the one that I'm talking about in the church when her face is kind of relaxed and sad, pensive, um like ruminating, scared. She looks scared to me. So I just want to know, like, if they did some AI on the face just to make her smiling in some of these photos. Because how she looks like in this photo right here compared to how she looks in that church where her face is sad and heavy, and she just looks real sad, right? It just looks like her death is coming, like she knows her death is coming. I know that sounds crazy. So I've told folks before that I thought Princess Anne's husband, Timothy, I said it was her brother last time. I'm sorry about that, but I just got a feeling he was a nice guy. And when I look at them for this Christmas Day thing, they don't seem like they're expecting a murder, right? Like they don't seem like, oh, we're off to a satanic cult where our nephew's wife is going to get killed and the children. They seem to genuinely like one another. And then also Timothy was the one that ended up with that black eye, and he said it was from a garden rake, right? But I had said I felt that the ghosts were telling me that he got hit in the face by William because he confronted William about all this insanity, right? And I just feel like he's a good guy. That also lets me know this was an impulsive action. This was an impulsive action because Anne is always on high alert. You know what I mean? She would have picked up on the fact that maybe something was going down. Like I just don't think he plotted his wife's demise and children's demise. I just think he's crazy. All right. So already there had been rumors for quite some time that they were miserable in their relationship and that he'd been having the affair with Rose. And then there was the speculation when this supposed disease or abdominal surgery or what have you, right? And then other folks were saying, look at the Spanish media, right? They said, really, that's very important. Like, look, this woman is like an expert on the royal family, has written like 13 books. Like, she's not always right, but she's like someone that is highly trusted, and she's like staking her career on this. Like there's something to the coma story. Now you guys know that I think she's passed, and that maybe they told folks she had a coma at first to break it a little bit easier. Maybe her brains were oozing out of her head for a minute there, and they stuck her on life support for 5 minutes and said, "Look, she's in a coma," as opposed to like the real reason, right? And so, but that resonates, but it's like not a coma, it's death. It's death, but I believe that, that was closer to the truth than everything else, right? Unconscious, out of here, asleep, not here, right? And this whole business about the BBL, like, we will feel so horrible for those kinds of silly rumors when later on we find out she has passed and was murdered with her children. So I just think folks need to like recognize there's a certain gravity here, because when folks are shaming folks for not being sensitive about a cancer diagnosis that is highly suspect, right? That's negative energy, right? But also when we are making light of something that's very serious, what I think people don't get wrong is all these people doing the research, the army of Kate, conspiracy people, whatever you want to call them, that are caught up in and don't believe the palace, right? Those folks actually do care, right? They care about domestic violence. Maybe they understand domestic violence. Maybe they have experienced domestic violence, and they know how a controlling man or a controlling monarchy works, right? So when you're shaming them, you're shaming people that actually do care about Kate, but they're seeing a bigger picture. They're seeing a bigger picture than what you see. So I don't think anyone should be shaming anyone, but I don't know. Sometimes you got to let it out. All right. So by January 18th, right, that was the one time we saw Philip, or sorry, we saw William. Huh, what a that's interesting. I would choose Philip. Uh, we saw William. Um, oh, guys, I'm really getting a sense of like Philip. Remember how I said he was evil? I feel like since he's passed, William's mental health has gotten worse because Philip tries to come through him. Sometimes when you have a dead relative and they are mad about moving on, they will come into a person that they loved or that they knew closely during their life, and they know how to manipulate them and like get a little bit of the screen time, like get a little bit of like seeing through their eyes, and like like remote controlling them a little bit and like taking over just a little bit with like personality and stuff. I didn't even realize like that was happening with Philip to William, that William's mental health has gotten worse since Philip died, and that what I sense is that Philip is coming through and using William a little bit because he manipulated him and like groomed him for that role of like cutthroat murderer, and now Philip is like coming through William and taking over somewhat. Like it's hard to explain if you haven't had a ghost try to take you over. If you've had a ghost try to take you over, like a relative, right? Like a parent or something like that, where they're used to manipulating you because you are the child, right? They will try to take over your identity, or they will try to just scoot into your space, take up space in your head, like watching TV out of your eyes. Real hard to explain. But anyway, all right, now William is photographed driving to the London clinic to visit Kate. Okay, great. Right. The one time he goes, it's for 45 minutes. Okay. Your wife has cancer, supposedly. Like, none of you cancer believers want to recognize, like, why does the man go one time to the hospital? Like, I just don't know why you take off your hats of curiosity, right? Like, use your brain. You don't have to give up your brain if you believe the cancer story. Believe it, right? Just don't discard your brain. All right. So people are saying, right, this is the one time he visits his wife. What the hell? What the hell is happening? All right. Now think about it. just think about it. I understand some of you just can't, right? You just refuse to think. I don't even know why you'd be watching this video if you don't want to think, because I'm going to push you, right? So Kate's departure, right, was never photographed, even though members of the media were set up all around the hospital, right? These are people that live to take photographs. This is like the most famous photograph in the world of this woman coming out of the palace after all this kind of like confusion, and all of a sudden, like, she had a trip planned to go somewhere, but now all of a sudden she's got a planned surgery and people aren't believing it. Her staff doesn't know what's happening, right? No one photographs this woman leaving the hospital, right? So maybe she never was at the hospital. I never sent, my sense is she never was, and that the breaking in of the records was not the staff, but I sense that the breaking in of the records was a hacker, a man or a powerful group or someone hacking in, excuse me, and they have proof that the princess was never there. And that's why they did the cancer video, in part because they don't know when that news is going to drop that she was never in the hospital, right? And so if they put out that cancer video, then they already solicited all this sentiment, all this emotion, which is like energy, right? It just makes people like sad and pitiful because they feel bad for someone, and they get caught up in all that, and then they just hate on people who can't just be sensitive, right? And so you get people turning on each other, right? So my point is like, you just have to ask yourself why there would be no photos, why there would be no photos of this woman leaving the hospital, right? That has to make sense to you, that don't make sense. All right. Now, I think William sent everyone away and told everyone to shut up. And then he had Carol sit in that car with that person. And she did not look happy in that picture. Like, all these articles now that are coming out about them, they do not show current pictures, right? It's like these people have disappeared, and I think he told them all, you take off. You take off. And he didn't tell them why, and he didn't tell them what was going on, right? And he's probably not telling them now what's going on. Who knows? But they have to sense what's going on, right? But they're probably scared, especially after that guy died. The family was never visited, never seen, never, it has been documented, right? That the family had never visited Kate at the hospital. Like, think about that. Her family, her mother who cares so much for her, not really, but let's pretend, right? Her father who cares so much for her, doesn't seem like it, but let's pretend, right? Her brother and her sister that cares so much for her, I don't know, maybe. And they all go on holiday, right? They all take off, or they just disappear. Like, we don't see them. I don't see Carol and Michael Middleton walking around, giving a press conference, talking about their daughter, doing an interview, right? You see statements that are carefully crafted by the palace or the palace's proxies, right? That have pictures of Carol and Michael, right? Old pictures, right? Talking about how they're devoted grandparents and they're helping out and shit, but you're not seeing any recent coverage of them in the flesh other than that car picture, if that was really Carol and not just photoshopped in or something. But I get the feeling that really was Carol in the picture, and that she was forced to drive with someone to make it look like Kate was alive. And she looked angry in that picture. She did not look like a woman that was picking up kids and everything was happy. She looked angry, like she was being forced to do something she didn't want to do. But a long time ago, like who knows, maybe it's like something, a contract before birth or something. These people that want their children to marry into royalty, they like sell their children, it's like a contract. Okay. Then this story comes out on February 9th that they went and to Windsor, they leave Windsor Castle, right? And they're going for the children's half-term holiday. So nothing was photographed about that, right? Like people are camped outside these places looking for when they're leaving, right? And no one is seeing any proof that that even happened, right? So that's just them. That's just the palace making stuff up. We don't even know if that is true. We don't, if there's no one to move around, then that's just a bunch of BS, right? Then February 17th, they put out something again very suspicious. Why are they putting out old information? Kate and William had gone to go look at a school supposedly for George, but that was way back before December 25th. But they made it sound like it was like a recent thing because they're trying to trick you, right? So that you have to like really dig to be like, oh, but didn't that happen last year? Like, why are they repeating news like it's new news to make it look like she's alive and the kids are alive? Maybe because the kids aren't alive, maybe because she's not alive, right? All right. So I was just talking a second ago about this photo of Kate supposedly in the car with her mom, right? That was a bunch of bogus, right? I just told you that was a bunch of bogus. I think everyone knows that's a bunch of bogus, but you need to ask yourself if the palace signed on for this bogus picture that looks so different from Cancer Kate. You have to ask yourself, like, how can the palace sign on for this crazy photo, this crazy version of Kate? And then what about the other versions? Like, doesn't that not make sense to you? When will people like rise up, right? That's just what I want to know. So then March 10th, right? That's when the big mistake comes. And I get the feeling one of William's people in PR are trying to get him caught and make it obvious that something is wrong, right? But they're trying to fool him that they're basically doing the best they can to, fool everybody because they're afraid he's going to kill him, right? So who knows? But that's the sense of what I feel, right? So then there's a huge kerfuffle about how this picture is fake, right? So if someone delivers a fake picture when you have concerns about someone's whereabouts and their health and their safety, and they give you a fake picture that then the press says they'll never like trust you again as a source of information, for the public to fall for whatever they spit out next just kind of shows you like the public is dumb. All right. This is a big deal in Britain because I think in Great Britain, they just don't realize like how messed up this family is. Like some of them do, but some of them think like they just can't unless you spell it out for them, like in a. All right, I think I lost connection there for a minute, but anyway, I said if we see that the press, they have so much power, they can dictate the truth, right? It's like if the people in Great Britain saw something that said, rise up, the prince killed Kate, like I feel like if it was spelled out for them from a reliable source, but then there's that question, what's a reliable source? New York Times is corrupt, in my opinion. The Daily Telegraph, the Daily Mail, TMZ. I don't know. Like, I get the concerns about TikTok and how China's spying on us and all that stuff. But TikTok seems to be the only place where there's any kind of democracy, and that too is failing, right? And then over on X, I've noticed that Elon Musk has put a warning on the cancer video questions and criticisms, and I said to him on X that I would like to talk to him because I think he's a sellout. Like, what the hell? Like, that's not democracy. And he knows that that is AI. I just get the feeling he like um Prince William is calling in the favors, and so all these press are basically doing his bidding for now. How much longer? I feel like the people are rising up. It's going to be an army of TikTok posters and X posters that are going to like make these press do their fucking job. Children's lives are at stake. When this picture came out, you say to yourself, Okay, let's see some live children then, because you've got fake children here. You're giving me fake children, right? Let's see some live children, but no one asked for the live children. We all said, oh, thank you for the cancer video, Kate, right? Leave you alone. Got it. Be private, right? Got it. No one asked about where these kids are at, right? We just got a fake picture. If someone was holding your kids hostage and these kids are supposedly like, I don't know, part of the public because the public is like supports them and everything. If someone is holding your kid hostage and then they send you a picture to show that they're okay and it's a fake picture, aren't you going to ask for some proof of life? But no one does anything about the kids. It's so crazy. It's dumbfounding. I am just stunned. All right, this is kind of a crazy conspiracy. I just wanted to point it out for a second, maybe do some research on it. On the left top box, you see Kate's photo, Kate's fingers, right, with the ring, the cursed ring that was Diana's, right? That's that left top box. And her picture is on her hands are on the right in that top left box that says Kate. And on the left for that top left box are her hands in that Mother's Day picture, right? Because sometimes you would like you might have someone stand in with some hand or something. This person is saying those hands look like the hands of the nanny, which are in the bottom left box, right? And I don't know if that seems legit to any of you guys or if you want to research it. But what's interesting about that theory, which is an interesting one, is then it would indicate if that's a recent photo that they manipulated that the Baralo character, the nanny, was back in. So maybe William demanded she come back after she was releasing secrets or was scared for her life or whatever. Maybe he said, come on back and you be the hand model for some fake photos I'm going to make. Okay, March 11th. Um, so now we finally have some pushback and people are finally acting like they got some balls, right? And they stand up to the palace. They stand up to the media organizations that have been doing a horrible job. And they said, we're going to hold you accountable. You can't do this, right? That was huge, right? And that's why it's so crazy to me that as soon as the cancer video came out, people like forgot about all this. Like, weren't these guys like on like not suspension, but like probation or something? Like, aren't we supposed to have like some time to hold them accountable and have trust issues, or like we just got to move through those trust issues real quick because the C word, right, cancer, just pulls at the heartstrings, right? Is that what happened? Is it like collective amnesia that we just forgot about that? Because for a second there they were saying this is not a trusted source. Now, Kensington Palace, like that's specifically William. That's like saying, William, you are not a trusted source. I want you to catch that distinction, right? It's not Buckingham Palace, it's Kensington Palace. And that's saying, William, we know you're up to some shit, right? And that's when William says, I got an AI video. I got people that are going to suppress questions about the AI video. I've got 5 newspapers that are going to run the AI video and say it's not AI. I got now he's got a new thing where the BBC is not going to let the original video play because they are trying to censor the original video, and they're going to put out another video which they said is the same video, but it's probably going to fix a lot of that stuff that the AI people said is clearly AI, and then they're going to take all that stuff and make a new video that's not going to look like AI even more because all the critiques we've been given about AI features are going to be fixed, but the original video won't be out there to be played. If that makes any sense. That's what I heard today. That's just crazy. I just wonder, are the people that stupid? So this was another article that was talking about the kids. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, right? Why haven't Kate and the Williams children been seen in months, right? So that I think was around February, maybe like mid-February, that people were like, at least there was one article, right? It's, you see a plethora of these other articles that are stupid and dumb and waste your time. This article seemed like it was asking that hard question, but you don't see it now. So I know it's hard to believe that the children might be killed, but the reasoning would be that he lost control, and his motivation might be then he knows that his heirs, you have to understand, he has potential heirs like all over the place, but the heirs that he might be thinking of bringing on board and having his main heirs, like for an egomaniac kind of person who's possessed a little bit maybe by his grandfather's spirit trying to take over. He is basically those children would be the children with Rose would then be the children that would be the heirs, and that would be like giving something to Rose, right? Like making good on a promise, or like making her dreams come true or something. And there's like a romantic part of William where he wants to do something to make someone happy, like some big sacrifice or some big heroic tale. Like he gets caught up in the emotions of that. So now he's in a frenzy, right? Because he just like potentially killed them all, but like he thought he could get away with it, or he just lost himself. I think he lost himself in the anger of the moment and did something crazy and foolish and stupid and violent. And but you have to understand there are like serial killers in that kind of family. Like it's so culturally conditioned that there's always like an undercurrent of violence just like running through their veins. Anyway, so this article actually is stupid, right? Because it's saying that Kate Middleton is maybe divorcing William and decided to whisk the kids away. She doesn't legally own her own children. She's not the guardian of her own children. Like, look into that. Charles is the guardian of the children. Like when you marry into the royal family, it's like slavery. Your children become like owned by the monarch, basically. So look that up. I mean, people really just don't understand. Like these people can't be held accountable by the police, right? If King Charles is found guilty of anything, he cannot be prosecuted civilly or criminally for any crime. Like this is like somewhat of a little dictatorship, right? With a little bit of like a cherry of democracy on the top, right? So when they say that Kate Middleton can walk off with the children, she don't own those kids, right? Those kids really aren't hers. So I don't know, but I don't think she went anywhere with the children. I sense she's gone. I think a lot of people sense she's gone, and that's our intuition talking. That's your intelligence that's in your gut. All right, this one was interesting. Um, I thought it was interesting because at the end of the article, they're talking about how the royal kids have not yet been seen. There has not even been a peep, a paparazzi shot, or even a schoolyard sighting from the trio. The lack of reports naturally led to people putting their tin hats on, with some theorizing that Kate and the kids went AWOL. Kate can't go anywhere alone with the kids. She doesn't have the authority. Like, wake up. She can't do something like a normal person would do. She's like a slave, like a cog in the wheel. She's like a servant, like an actress who has to play a part, right? And then William just decided he was done dealing with this particular actress. He wants another actress, right? Because that's how his conditioning, like how he's been raised. He's been raised with monarchs before him, cheating, lying, stealing, killing, murdering, raping, destroying countries, like mercenaries. So then we like pop into these kind of strange stories that kind of, it depends on the day. Some days it's all about Carol taking care of the kids. Sometimes it's all about the nanny taking care of the kids because the nanny somehow popped back up, right? And then we don't get any pictures of Carol with the kids, right? But we just have to trust she's busy taking care of the kids, maybe depending on the article, because then it might be William on another day, right? But we never see William from afar taking care of the kids or anything like that. So it's just something to think about. Others said to be helping out are Kate's siblings, but we don't see any of these people with the children. We don't see the nanny with the children. But they give us words. Like people need to realize and pay attention. They give us words. Words is not the same thing as seeing a human being. Right now, we just get words to reassure us they're fine, they're fine, they're fine. It's going to be June. It's going to be 6 months and like 10 days or something from the last time we saw them. And are you still going to think that like the kids are like parked somewhere and just we can't see them because the family's going through so much? Like, doesn't that just seem dumb to you? Kids are busy, right? They're skipping, they're jumping, they're being messy, they're running around. Like, what's going on? I would ask someone to go to the school and find out, like break into those files and find out if the children have even been to the school. I think someone needs to really do the work. I think someone needs to bring this to the world's attention like yesterday. So I want to revisit for a second Concha Kaleja's claims, right, about the coma. Someone was also saying that there was another British journalist that was talking about how the royal family had fighting and screaming. I've heard that before when it's such a huge power imbalance where William can literally kill his wife and get away with it, and Kate has no power, no legal power, doesn't own her children, that kind of thing. I don't know about fighting and screaming that feels equal, right? When one person has way more power than the other, that smells more like domestic violence. So when I hear that there was like a British journalist supposedly talking about how they fight and scream and stuff, I would say that is William. You are now hearing, which we saw when this story first broke, that people were talking more about signs of DV in the relationship and things they would couch as William's temper and stuff like that. Okay, here we go. So this was interesting. It was, if you're interested in the Kate Middleton story, the Spanish press are reporting her operation wasn't planned. She was in a coma, intubated at one point. Doctors feared she would die. The Spanish press are saying there is a blackout in the UK media on it. You need to understand if you are an American or you're from another part of the world, like the UK press is not really a free press. I'm not saying the United States press is either, but the monarchy controls what the UK press says. So these poor UK people who love their princess, they aren't even getting factual information, right? They aren't even finding out about this information because they're reading sources, right, that are banning from like the news from including what the Spanish press are saying. That's called censorship, and that's really like a precursor to fascism. All right, I thought this was real interesting. I remember seeing more about this earlier, and now I find this really, really hard to find. So I don't know if they've been scrubbing it or something, but the Spanish reporter swore and doubled down on her source, and many say her source is the Spanish nanny of the Windsor kids, right? So I get this sense that she and Camilla probably gave this information. And I don't know if what William does is he's like psycho and he's like, I know you released this information. So now he's got the nanny all scared and petrified in the house with him being a psycho. like her having to pretend that she's taking care of the kids, but she can't go outside or anything, like in case a drone is overhead or something, because like there are no kids, but he probably just wants her sitting around in that house pretending like there are kids if she's back there. And then he's got Camilla all scared, just giving statements today about how the kind words for Kate mean so much. She is a cold bitch, right? Because she knows that there ain't no Kate to give those kind wishes to. She knows that she's walking around with murderers. I think she's just trying to keep her head on, right? Keep her head on and ride this one out because she thinks this boy is going down. I do sense that Camilla thinks this boy is going down. And I'm sure she's scared of him and what he's capable of. So, like I said, there was information earlier that seemed a lot more interesting about the nanny and a connection to the nanny and her being kicked out. And it may have been that she notified the reporter before she left the household, right? And she notified her maybe in a panic or something. But I think that could be a hero, that the person that broke that story, right? Okay. So this I thought was very interesting. Maybe try to see if you can find some more information about it, but it was someone reporting that Conchita Caleja said that um someone had stated to her that a small hospital had been set up in Adelaide Cottage, right? Well, of course they would set her up there if she's in a coma and isn't going to come out of it and is just going to sit there like a vegetable. And if William did that to her, I mean, maybe by now they've already pulled the plug and stuff, but I think that resonates, right? That someone set up like a small hospital. They could have already disassembled it. They could have assembled it for like 2 days just to reassure folks that she was like getting medical care or something. But I just get the feeling that's been dismantled by now. I don't get the feeling that she's hooked up to any machines or anything like that. I wish William could do a lie detector test. So you have to think about how rare it is to be able to speak as a nanny, right? Princess Elizabeth had a nanny that was sacked, but she was dedicated to the family for like 17 years. Now she was sacked for writing her memories, right? Which were not too risque about raising the royal children, right? But she disobeyed the queen and lost her trust, right? But 17 years she was with the family and she was disowned by the royal family. Um, there can just be some real harshness from the family. Give them 17 years of your life. Um, they just are, I think, a harsh employer. So now they call it for like a employee that talks to anyone or breaks code or anything like that. Their little catchphrase among themselves is called making like coffee, because that was that nanny who wrote her book, her memoir, right? All right. So I'm just saying it's a big deal when if the nanny told the truth, like, because you know what they do. I mean, and that who knows what else they did. I was going to cover a murder in one of my upcoming videos that I just found out about. It was someone that was tattling on Prince Philip, and I think Prince Philip had her killed. I think I needed to add her to my Prince Philip hit list because she reported to Queen Elizabeth that Prince Philip was like molesting a young girl. So just real sad. Everyone thinks Queen Elizabeth's so nice, and it's like here she is letting girls get molested. Then that woman who wants to report it to her, that woman got killed, and I think Queen Elizabeth looked the other way while he went ahead and killed folks. Anyways, so then Concha Caleja does not back down, right? And so she knows the truth. She's going to stand in the truth. Truth has a certain vibration. You can just like feel it in your gut, feel it in your body. Um, so it is a big deal that she's standing up here. And I think because she can't, like Camilla can't fight back right now, And because the nanny can't fight back right now, everyone else has to go back to kissing William's ass and pretending like he's great, even though he killed these folks potentially, right? I feel like Concha Kaleha is like, I'll stand over here for truth and I won't let go. And even if people lose interest in the truth, I'll still be over here standing in the truth. So if people want to come back and revisit me, like I'd be curious what she's thinking now. Now we start to see more censorship. I'm seeing it with TikTok, right? And before TikTok, I said was more being like a true democracy. And I called it the TikTok democracy, right? But Elon is bowing down to these fuckers too. So I feel like it's bigger than Elon, it's bigger than TikTok. Like the palace has information on people or it's threatening to expose people or something because they're getting everyone to like shut down and censor this story and make it be like propaganda like World War II. You're like ready to lock up the Jews. You're like, did you criticize that cancer video as being AI? I'm taking you to the camps, right? So it's interesting, right, that the media is used to then constrain people's ability to find information, share information. And then you consider all the bots out there, right? It's truly a utopian nightmare. I mean, dystopian. All right. So I guess I'll end here, but one thing I just want to mention is I just found this gentleman today. I'm still learning about him, but he seems fabulous. He's a British gentleman. I don't know if he lives in Great Britain, but he has an accent, right? And he's such a sweet, funny guy. I really enjoy him. He's on TikTok, right? And he had this comment where he was saying, like, look at the news that is coming out. It's like King Charles shuffles over to do a video that is like a picture of him. And that's the news of the day. Like, oh, he just read a pre-recorded thing and now he's shuffled off. Like, that's not news, right? That's not information. Like there's other stuff going on in the royal family that is true news that needs to be reported, that deserves to be reported, right? And to just put everything out and quell it with like, we put these roses on a desk, we read a excerpt from this book, nothing about like the real stuff going on, just like fluff pieces. And it's just dumb. You're just like, who's reading these dumb like posts, like reporters putting out these dumb articles, like who's reading that shit? Not me. All right, guys, I'll end there. I'm just having a real hard time. As you know, I think I mentioned that. I knew that doing this video was going to be emotional for me. It's not like I want to believe that the kids and Kate are dead. I sense it. And then sometimes with like my psychic stuff, I say, okay, like if that's true, why do I have to be the one that knows that? Like, why can't other people know that? Like, more people know that so I don't feel so alone. And I just think sometimes some of us are gifted with that whole Cassandra complex. Excuse me, from ancient Greece, if you're familiar with Cassandra. I think she didn't sleep with Zeus and she got cursed. Sounds like typical story for a witch. And she then got cursed with being able to always read the future, but never be believed. And so I feel like sometimes, like, I'm just here to tell you what's coming through and what I'm channeling. But, like, if any of you resonate with me, please get this information out there. Please do whatever you can do to share the story of where are the kids.